This is A-Ray with Team Dynamic Disc, and we're going to talk today about Rule 804.04, out of bounds. One of the things you might need to know is what options you have for yourself when you make a shot that goes out of bounds, and we're going to demonstrate that here today. Okay, I've just thrown my tee shot on this hole, and I've gone out of bounds into that creek over there on the right. I now need to know what to do to play my next shot according to Rule 804.04, out of bounds. In this course, we have an OB boundary, which is the top of the creek. I now have three options available to me according to 804.04. The three options available are the previous lie, where I threw my last shot from, in this case the tee box, or the out of bounds spot, which is up to 1 meter from and perpendicular to the spot where it went out of bounds, or the designated drop zone if available. This hole does have a designated drop zone, so what I want to do is think, which shot is more advantageous to me? Is it there, is it here, or is it there? In this case, I want to choose the designated drop zone because that's going to get me closer to the basket. I'm going to be throwing with a one throw penalty from either spot, so I want to take the one that's going to give me the best advantage, in this case, the drop zone. Another thing players get confused about 804.04 out of bounds is when they're in the circle putting. Here I am, I've made my approach, I'm in the circle putting, and I'm going to take my putt. Sometimes what will happen is you'll have a little bit of bad luck. You'll make your putt, you'll hit the cage and take a really, really bad roll, and most players are going to go to the out of bounds spot and take their next shot. But remember, you have three options at all times: the previous lie, the drop zone, or the out of bounds spot. In this case, the drop zone's further away and the out of bounds spot's further away. If I go out of bounds here, what I want to do is come back to my previous lie and putt from this same spot with the one throw penalty, because that's the most advantageous to me. And that's Rule 804.04, out of bounds. Go to PDGA.com to learn more about this rule and other rules.
We're going to talk about different types of plastic available to you here at Dynamic Discs. The first type is Fusion. It's a great durable plastic that you don't have to worry about it beating in, and it has great grip to it. Whether it's hot or cold or wet, this disc will give you superior grip in all conditions. The Dynamic Disc Lucid plastic is my personal favorite. It's a little bit harder than the Fusion, has a little bit more of a stiff feel to it, so it leaves the hand very cleanly. It likes to get out of the hand fast and hold great lines, and you don't lose any durability. It'll hold up for a long, long time. Next, we have BioFusion. This is a regrind of the Fusion and Lucid plastics. It's a great way to go if you're looking to try out new molds, because it gives you the feel of a premium plastic without the cost of a premium plastic. The next plastic we're going to talk about is Prime Plastic. This is a great way to go if you were looking to try out new molds. It's a base plastic, so it's very cost effective. The upside to it also is that it has great grip, so it's fantastic in wet and cold conditions. Now let's move on to our putter plastics. The first we have here is Prime. It's a great chalky feel. Some people like that really stiff feel to their plastic, and it has fantastic grip for all conditions. The next type is the Classic Soft. Some people really like that soft, squishy feel to the disc. It hits the ground and stops, and it really likes to get sucked into the chains. It's great for cold conditions when that disc is going to be really hard and stiff. Next, we have our Classic Plastic. This is the more stiff of all the putter plastics. It's very hard and very rigid. A lot of people like that nice stiff feel when they're putting. A good thing about it too is that it leaves your hand very clean off the tee. This is a very good driving plastic. And if you're looking for a plastic that's right in between the Classic and the Soft, reach for a Classic Blend. It still has that nice flexible plastic like the Soft without losing that stiffness that you get with the Classic. We're going to talk about some of our other plastic types here at Dynamic Discs. First, we have our Moonshine. This is very similar to Lucid, except some people feel like it's a little more overstable, and it's great for those glow rounds. This is our Lucid Air plastic. It's lighter, which tends to give it more glide, and is great for those people that don't have the arm speed of a pro. This is our Fluid plastic. It's very similar to Lucid, except it's quite a bit more flexible, which makes it great for those extremely cold rounds and gives you superior grip when it's wet. No matter what type of plastic you get here at Dynamic Discs, they'll all work well. It's a personal preference thing. Some people like Fusion, some people like Prime, so get out and try them all.
I'm here to talk to you about something that you probably don't want to talk about. Something that happens to the best of us. What I'm talking about is when you throw your discs in the water. Yeah, it's a sad day for all of us when it happens, but it's okay. I've got something that could help save your discs. That is the Dynamic Discs Golden Retriever. This simple device can save you so much money down the road. Now, it's small enough that it fits into just about any bag, and it comes with 15 feet of rope and 35 feet of rope, and you can put that together to make 50 feet of rope. This thing is so simple to use. Simply unravel the rope and unfold your golden retriever. Locate your disc and then toss the golden retriever beyond the disc and pull across to retrieve. As the golden retriever skims across the bottom of the water hazard, it will scoop up and grab your disc. And there you have it. This thing is simple, lightweight, fits into just about any bag, saves money, saves speed of play, and keeps you and your clothes dry. Comes in 5 different colors. Pick yourself up a Dynamic Disc Golden Retriever at dynamicdisc.net.
Here we are back with Back to the Basics number 2. If you remember last time we talked about the drive, well, we've come off of the tee box, we've come up to where our drive landed, and so now it's time to talk about the approach shot. So there's a couple of different things that you have to keep in mind. Number one, because we're going to a very specific spot, the basket here, where we land is super important. On a drive, really all you're trying to do is get to the clear spot. But now we have to focus on what our putt's gonna look like and all of that sort of stuff. So I wanna take you through what I'm thinking as I step up to my approach shot. So I've got a little over 200 feet here, and it's pretty wide open. So I can go with a straight on shot, I can go with a hyzer shot, some people might choose to go with a flick shot. At this point, you want to go with whatever is most comfortable for you. Remember, being confident in what you're about to do is always important on your disc golf game. You've got to be trusting that you can pull off the shot that you're about to attempt. So for me, I'm going to go with a little bit of a hyzer shot. Now, I feel confident in my putt about 30 feet and in. It's important to remember when you're approaching a basket, I don't have to put it right on the pole. Because I feel confident in that 30-foot putt, that means that if I land within 30 feet of the basket on any side, I'm going to be into my confidence zone. So that gives me a 60-foot wide circle here that I'm aiming for. What that ends up doing, thinking about it that way, gives me a lot more confidence in this shot. Now, the second thing to consider is not just where I'm going to land as far as the distance go, but what sort of obstacles are there near the basket. For this particular one, I've got a tree about 20 feet behind the basket and to the right. So that means that is the one spot I do not want to land. I want to keep it short and left if possible to make sure I stay away from that tree. I also want to factor the wind in. On this particular shot, I've got a headwind, and I like to have tailwind putts. So I'm going to actually try to throw it a little bit past the basket, but because that tree is on the right side, I'm going to try to land a little bit past the basket and to the left. So for me, I'm going to be coming in with a right-handed hyzer approach shot. So I'm actually going to try to land it right near the basket, knowing that I'm going to skip a little bit, and that's going to give me the putt that I'm looking for. Now, if when I hit the ground, if it doesn't skip at all and it just sticks, well, great, I'm right next to the basket. If I would get so lucky as to hit the pole or something, great, I'm right there. But I'm putting myself in the position where I can feel the most confident so that I can get up and down from right here. So in my mind, when I'm working on my approach shot, when I'm thinking about what I want to do, I'm thinking about how far away I want to land, what direction I want to land, and what obstacles to avoid. If you keep these things in mind on your approach, you'll be able to get up and down, and you'll be able to do it with confidence every time.
Okay, so this is what I think about when I step up to an upshot. At first, I think about the wind, how fast it's going, what direction it's coming from, if there's any at all. And with this particular shot, it's a pretty wide open shot, and the wind is changing out here. So, you know, it really depends on when I'm going to step up and when I'm actually going to throw. And that is kind of when I'll make the ultimate decision, because right now the wind's changing. If the wind's pretty low and it's a straight open shot, I will throw my putter. In order to get the distance, I really make sure that I throw the putter high enough, because like the higher you throw the putter, the more glide it'll get. So I definitely make sure that I'm getting the distance that I need, so I'm throwing my putters a little bit higher. But if there's like really a pretty strong gust of wind, I probably won't choose my putter because, you know, putters are naturally understable, so they'll flip over or they're just not that consistent when the wind picks up. So for this particular shot, I would throw a hyzer because it's wide open and I can trust it. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking in terms of the wind. And if there's a tailwind, I mean, I'll still throw my putter, but usually if there's any side wind or a headwind, I will go to a different mid-range. But if it's a wide open shot, it'll be a mid-range that hyzers. That's what I would do. Also, what I take into consideration is like the obstacles around it. So you want to make sure you avoid hitting, you know, anything that will, you know, prohibit you from getting as close to the basket as you can. So for this shot, there is a tree that is deep and right, and really that's not really going to be an issue for me, because for me, when I throw up shots, sounds kind of weird, but I try to be just short of the basket. I feel like going long, it's just not really, I just try to get to the basket. I don't try to go like at the basket, if that makes sense. So really my goal is to be short and to get it right up next to the pin. So really that won't be an issue for me. But I mean, in other cases, if there's something around the basket, I just want to make sure that I am avoiding those obstacles. And then another thing that I take into consideration is what stance I have available for me. So sometimes your footing might be a little messed up, and you really got to make the adjustments. And if you're, you know, having to, you know, stand a little bit wider or anything like that, that will affect my disc choice and how I sort of approach the basket. But really, for this, again, this particular shot, it is pretty wide open. So if the wind was dying down, I would throw my putter a little bit like high, like I said before, and a little bit to the left, because I know that I'm going to put enough power onto it to where it'll go to the right and kind of flip over at the end and go to the basket. And right now it's kind of a headwind, the left to rightish. I would throw my Justice wide and right and pretty far to the right, because I want to throw it high and I know the wind's going to pick it up and like push it further to the left. So for this shot, I would take my Justice and aim high and right, and because I can know that I can trust the wind to push my disc towards the basket. And again, I'm aiming a little bit short of the basket, because just for me, that's what I'm comfortable with, and that's where I feel comfortable with. And my comfortable putt range should be 30 feet, but it's probably about 20, 25 feet. So as long as I'm in that range, I think I'm going to be fine. But really my goal is to be just a little bit short of the basket. And with that tree being in the way, that is, I think, within my range. I think maybe that tree is like 25 feet away. So I do kind of want to take that into consideration, but I mean, it really shouldn't be a problem.
Throw over a river, over a creek, or over a pond, not throw over a river, can save you lots of money down the road. Gosh.
Here I am after. I'm sorry. I forgot for the producer.
Throw your discs in the water. But I'm here to, dadgummit.
You don't have to worry about it. I lost my train of thought. So, what was I starting with? Plastic types. All right.
Well, I guess that's fine, right?
Except that your head's in the way.
Move your head.
Without breaking the bank. That wasn't good. Durability and about the same flight. I just threw it out the window with that.
Hi, Dixon Jowers back here again. Last time we covered the drive. Yeah, I'm way loud. Yeah.
Go into like oh my gosh.